Yeah, hey, my name's Cory. We didn't really have a structured plan here, but hopefully you guys enjoy it. This is my partner James. We own Input Output. I've personally been in computers since the age of 8. I'm 43 now. I started on AOL, if you remember what that was, Prodigy, before the World Wide Web was even a thing. This is probably the biggest thing that's happening in the computer world right now is Chat GPT. I didn't see a raise of hands. How many people use Chat GPT? How many people know what it is or don't know what it is? Okay, good. All right, well, Chat GPT, like this guy said, is a large language model. I don't really consider it an AI. It's not alive. It's not, it doesn't have thoughts or feelings, but you can certainly simulate that kind of stuff. And it's basic. You can give Chat GPT prompts, right? Some of the easier ones are, create a meal plan, for myself. So we can come in here and paste and, get a whole meal plan created for us. Let me take my phone out of my pocket. So, it'll give me a whole week's worth of meal plans. There's a lot of other cool things you can do. So we'll, my wife actually hates me right now because I've been spending my entire last 3 months working on AI. So for us in the technology field, if you're not constantly keeping up with things, you're going to fall behind. And with AI, you're really going to fall behind if you don't learn it. So here, let's write a love letter to my wife, who's waiting outside right now because we're going to Disney after this. I can't see. Yeah, so these are the kind of simple things, right? You can ask it a question, it'll respond back. There's a few ways you can make it talk like other things. So, we can say, make it talk like a pirate. Can you type for me while I hold this? Make it talk like a pirate. Silly little things. It does a little bit more complex things. So actually, I was developing code. I was actually at James's house for, I forget what it was. It was a party, and this guy comes up to me and he goes, hey, do you know what Chat GPT was? This was months and months, 6 months ago. And I'm like, no, I've never heard of it. I was working on a programming project, and I started putting it in there, can you write this, can you write that? And I was amazed at, how much, code this thing can write. It saved, months worth of time. Excuse me, I'm a little nervous. I'm not a speaker. But
doing great.
You can ask it to create sales marketing for my MSP company, right? So we'll create a whole sales email. I use this a lot when I'm typing emails. I don't spell the best, so I'll put it in Chat GPT here and say, hey, rewrite this for me. And it'll write it, grammatically correct and all that kind of stuff. We have IT tickets. People put in a ticket, they get responses. We've used Chat GPT to rewrite our emails. You use it for blogs and other type of things. It is still pirate mode. Oh, there you go. Pretty cool. So, how I made this talk like a pirate, right? Well, it's called prompting. And Arif, tell me if I'm getting too technical, but what we're about to show you is stuff that I've been working on. The future of programmers, I think, is done. With large language models and AI like this, there's not going to be programmers around. You're going to be like a program product manager or something. But I spent a lot of time over the last months, James will tell you, it's a little bit of an obsession, developing a AI tool. Go ahead.
Step back real quick. So a lot of people, you understand kind of what ChatGPT is doing. You give it a question, it spits back an answer.
Right.
You do the blogs, the content, pirate sales letters, things like that. What we've been working on is really transitioning that to giving it a goal, having it figure out how to do that goal, and executing on it. So that's what Cory's going to jump in a little bit here and how we can actually leverage this, not just to write content for us, but eliminate my need to look at emails or to respond to them, or completely replace our level 1 technicians, because now the AI can do it, and it can do it much faster. So right here's the tools that we've been putting together. And which one did you want to start with?
So we'll start with the predictions of profit and loss.
Okay.
We'll try it. We're going to try to do this live here. The internet kind of slow, but let's see what happens here.
So can you describe what you're doing there?
Yeah, so
because it's hard to see on the TV.
Right. So let me zoom in a little bit. So what we're doing right here is I'm prompting the model. It's called prompting. Basically, I'm saying, hey, act like a financial advisor. I know nothing about finance, so I actually Googled like financial models. So I'm telling the AI to simulate these models. It's not actually running the models, but the AI actually knows how the models work. And so what it's doing is predicting, you feed it its profit and loss, and I'm saying, hey, spit back and simulate these financial models. So right now it's going through and it's processing my company data. It's fake data, don't worry. It's calculating the profit margin, operating margin. Did I choose the right one here? Yeah, should have.
Hitting a little closer to home, this will also do the master tracker for us.
Yeah.
So
There we
that
go.
whole enjoyable thing, having to put that together, we can just feed in the data, we get it back. Eventually, we'll even have it to where we don't even need to do it. Arif will just have full access to it.
Yeah, here, let's show that, because that's actually easy. And I know we got looking at time here, but The thing about AI, it's right now it's slow. It's when it generates this text, it's hang on, dude. It's when it generates the text, it's contacting huge servers, and there's a bunch of people right now that are trying to develop these kind of tools. But so here, what I'm doing is, I fed it the profit and loss, and I told it to copy Arif's master tracker, create these headers up at the top, calculate the expenses and the payroll and all that kind of stuff. So it'll actually kind of scroll through here and start generating those numbers. It does math, so it's getting the numbers right. On the previous screen, it was actually generating predictions of profits based off the data for the next 5 years.
And Cory, in a situation like that, just so we can all kind of think it through, you take a P&L, you give it 3-5 years of what we might produce, and then it can use that trend to forecast out the next 5 years, right? Based on the previous 5. But it's as good as the input. So if you hire 3 salespeople, your plan is to hire 3 salespeople over the next 5 years, you can throw that in, which would then change how it's going to forecast, right?
It would. I would strongly advise to take this with a grain of salt, right? I mean, it's hard to predict, changes in market. With that said, you can feed the model news stories, We have a demo here with Tesla, I think it's right here. So I asked it to predict Tesla. Currently, Tesla's at, $232. What I did here is I took the Tesla data, the max stock data every day, and then I went and copied news stories, and then got its balance sheet and all that, and the company financials, and I fed it to the model, and I said, hey, use all this information to generate a prediction on what the price is going to be. So it actually predicts that Tesla, at the end of June 2025 will be $419, which would be great for my account. Another thing we did is sentiment analysis. So, if you're in the customer service business and you have customers calling, what we do here is feed the language model a set of audio. So right now, what I'm doing is I'm transcribing the audio, which is just a phone call between a tech and a customer, changing that to text. But what I'm telling the model to do is figure out and separate out the dialogue between the call. And I said, respond back with the customer language and the employee language. So hopefully it'll work here, but what I also told it to do is analyze the tone of the voice and perform sentiment analysis on it, which is basically how pissed off is the customer, right? So it'll go through here. It's actually detecting correctly who the employee is, who the customer is, and at the end here you'll see that it gives a score. The employee got an 80, the customer got an 85. So pretty neat there. What we've also, go ahead, you got something to say?
What I was going to say is really cool with it is, I mean, that's neat on its own, but what we're able to do is just aggregate everything that we have coming in from our phone system. So we can quickly see, is there anybody today that I need to call back? What do I need to do? Or can I just ignore all the other things that came in? Is there somebody, they have a really, really low score, they're super mad, we just connect with them. It allows us to step away from, say, monitoring the emails, monitoring the calls, and let the AI tell us what we need to engage with and when.
Yeah, part of what we did for our company is we developed the AI to read our ticket system and actually, come up with troubleshooting steps, and it'll actually respond back to the customer with help. And it will actually read our text, tone and the voice and simulate his email style or his writing style. Another thing we do here, go ahead, sorry.
Going back a little step, when you did the P&L projection thing, well, AI kind of wondered how much you trust that. Because, we've only used it on more of like the writing and content side.
Yeah.
But I was wondering, and there's all different businesses in here. One of the businesses we have provides a product. So we provide a product that is on store shelves.
Mhm.
So take that P&L. And our customers generally grow here and stay for a long time. So that thing we did, we pay like we have trade shows. There's something we could do with that says to our customers, like, hey, we built out a model for you based on your historicals of, every 6 weeks you're placing, $525 orders with us of these products, and if we have 3 different kinds of products, we're food because they're put on their shelves. That P&L thing, is there something we could do with pull our QuickBooks data or whatever, put it in there, and could we use it almost as like an upsell tool?
You could.
I don't mean to take away from what you're saying, but I was just trying to think, how could I use that practically?
So you sell product on a website?
E-com, but mostly B2B, so
Okay.
Retailers, so like a Nordstrom might have
Right.
6 feet of our product, our beer bread mixes, our party dip mixes, our mug cake mixes, right? And would that be something that would show their trend and how they could grow? And is there a way to use that on the external side, sales?
Yes, definitely. You could scan your products, right, and change the description of the product to match what the customer, how the customer likes. That's an idea.
What do you mean?
So, if the customer visit your website, they might type in something to you, right? I don't know, they send an email to you, they visit your website, we can track, who they're visited before you guys, and change descriptions of the product to match and upsell them, or, there's a lot of things you can do with AI that would require programming in the past. Whereas really now all you got to do is tell it what to do. It's, write it, act like this.
So Cory, before you go further, I think this interaction, right, about what I wonder if AI can do this, is kind of the entire point, right? So the question that Molly's asking of Cory, it's really sort of just at the surface. There's a lot of depth that would have to be sort of input and understanding on both sides to be able to kind of carry this forward. But that's the idea, right? So immediately going to, hey, I have a thing, and I wonder if I can do better with that by utilizing AI. So the idea here, as we go into the afternoon part of this conversation, is we're going to go through something we call a SWOT analysis. It's SWOT, on our business, with the idea of thinking about strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, threats within the business. it doesn't all have to end with what can AI do for me, but I would suggest that that's part of what you think about, right, at the end of it. You found a strength, can you make it greater with AI? You found a threat, what can you do about it as it relates to AI? So that little dialogue that went back and forth, like, needs a lot more time. One of the things these gentlemen will offer sort of at the end is they've built a tool that can continue to be built out that might be able to meet some of the ideas that you have. And that would be one of the oh, that was close. One of the one of the suggestions that you work on at the end. Can you jump to the mail and calendar thing,
Yeah,
or
sure,
even
here.
the lead gen and Facebook?
Yep.
One of those.
So what we've also done is connected it to Office 365. Let me pull up the thing here. Once you sign into your account, you can let it access your email, and what it'll do is, as soon as I find it, might have to do it here, but it'll download all your emails, and it'll actually read the emails and separate them out into different folders. And this was one of James's idea. He said, we're paying an assistant to go through his emails every day and sort into different folders, because we both just hate checking email. This thing does it automatically, right? So here we got it. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so I don't know if your email inbox looks like crap. Mine used to be hundreds of emails long. I couldn't keep track of it. I hated email. Absolutely hate working with it. Now with this, what we can do is it will go through and clean it all and sort it out. Hey, here's something that you should reach out to right now. This is a sales lead. And all these other things you can review whenever you want to. And all of these other ones, they're marketing spam. Not even going to show those to you.
No, I don't think we have the email one, but
Just pull up.
yeah,
I see the
we can go to the Facebook.
But it'll also let me know how the tone of the email. So are any of these a negative sentiment? Is somebody upset in it? Is there something serious? That's one of the ways that right now we're having to talk with our assistant. The AI is now doing the email. Let's transition you into something else that can actually help drive the business, because now we don't need to pay somebody to do the email management. The system's doing it. And then here with the Facebook generation, which Cory will show you, is we're also starting to scrape to see who is it out there that's asking for our type of products, who wants something that we're looking for, and it will each day let us know, hey, here's 3 or 5 people that you should reach out to that want your services right now.
Yeah, so what we're doing here is we're looking at Facebook, and for the lawyers in the room, it's a dev key, and I'm allowed to scrape the Facebook pages, but we're looking for posts within Facebook for professional services. So I'm telling the model here, hey, look through all the posts, find people that are offering or want professional services, and separate it out. Give me the poster's name, give me the content, their profile link, and then tell me how interested they are, right? So we have an urgency score at the end here, where I'm telling the model, and I call it model, AI, large language model, but I'm telling the AI, hey, read the comments or read the tone of the post to determine how good that lead is, or if they've already hired somebody, right? Read the comments to see if they responded back and said, no, I've already hired somebody, or, I found somebody. But we also separate the category into insurance and landscaping. But this is lead gen, right? This is gathering real live leads based on Facebook groups. And this works for any site, Nextdoor, whatever the other ones are, I don't know. But pretty neat there.
Kind of the power of the tool
That Cory's really put together is kind of to the point that you were asking about before. Can it do this? Can it do the profit loss? If you can explain it to an employee and provide step by step what needs to be done, it can be programmed into here, and it will figure out how to do that and then be tweaked to where it provides that result to you. So anything, even what I do, compliance analysis, is starting to replace my analysis of people's policies. So now I can just throw the policies into the solution, and I'll say, hey, this person's missing this. They need to add this to their policy. Here's a few things that they need to show for objective evidence. And pretty soon, even what I do is going to transition away because the AI platform will fully manage that compliance policy side.
Yeah, we also have a chat with your PDF section on here. And by the way, you guys can use this after our presentation. We'll give you the website link. Be easy on it. It's it's a demo beta, but what you've seen so far is interacting, and I have to type in stuff and upload documents and all that kind of stuff. What I really spent my time on, and this guy might know it, whoever said the large language model thing, is there's a software out there called AutoGPT. And the premise behind it is, a fully autonomous AI, right? It's horrible. I've used it, and I asked it to, just write a file to my hard drive that said the words "Hello World." And after 45 minutes, it started comparing the file size to the population in China. And I was like, man, I can build this better. So there is only 2 of these programs in the world right now. There's a couple of spin-offs of the other one, but there is not one that works very well. What I've done here is I've told the model to respond as 2 different, users, right? One of it is, tell me what you're doing, and the other one is direct yourself. So I told it to create a marketing stock analysis tool, and just do it. That's all I said to it. It takes natural language. What it's doing now is it's researching the internet. It's trying to find out what, to base that data on, right? Market indicators, price patterns. It'll start developing the code itself. It'll write Python. It writes Python code, if you know what that is. But it'll look for data on the internet, pull in that data, and eventually at the end, I won't play the whole thing, but it actually writes a whole program that does stock analysis on certain stocks. It's pretty, there's only 2 in the world. So this is the second one, and it actually works. But you can tell it to do anything. I told it to order a pizza. It, looked up my location. It found a pizza place near me. It tried to write code to, convert text to speech and call the phone number. It's pretty wild what these things can do. And what you've seen today, this is the worst AI you're ever going to see. It's only going to get better, and that's it. I don't really have anything else. Do you guys have any questions? I'll answer.
Did you get the pizza?
I did not. I didn't get the pizza. It was having a hard time writing the program to convert the text to speech, but with a little bit of tweaking, we can make that happen. That's not a focus, is ordering a pizza. I can do that myself, but we found more benefit in helping, automate some of our stuff.
Yeah, how can it differentiate between what's true on the internet and what's not true? There's so much phony stuff there that how can it really figure out what's real, what's not real?
Like Arif said, it's as good as the data it gets. If you train a model on bad things, right? There's disclaimers on the internet that say, these things, stereotype and all that kind of stuff. So it can certainly repeat bad data, but you can train it. You can train it to learn that, that data that it's got is bad, or, don't repeat something, but that's a hard thing to stop.
Library topics for you today, starting with the passing of
Go ahead. Somebody else had a question? So it's as good as the data it gets, right? And it'll repeat anything that you give it. So it's not a true AI. It's not alive. It doesn't think. It doesn't know what's right or wrong. It knows what it's trained on. Go ahead.
Editing data.
Yeah.
This AI, things that are is there a point or is there a danger of these different models, once they are accessing them, because they do lie to us, the fuckers.
Yeah. They do.
To edit data and what protections are in place right now. It does talk about governments and there's laws and blah, 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 but it doesn't really do a damn thing with the computer that doesn't care.
Yeah.
So what's your experience on
My opinion is, well, currently, like Chat GPT, it doesn't have access to the internet. It can't do anything on the internet right now. I can certainly train this model to say, hey, go edit Wikipedia and screw up a lot of articles, right? And it'll go do it. There's no guidance or boundaries behind it. So right now it'll follow whatever you want it to do. It's part of the responsible AI efforts from OpenAI and Azure, but currently right now it's a open field. So there's nothing stopping it except yourself.
So the answer is
There is none right now. No. I can tell this thing to develop a hack tool or do a penetration test on a website, and it'll do it.
And so you this llama or
This is not. No, this is a GPT-4 model. Which
you're using your own AI, which is
the basis is it's more or less a prompt, right? I'm looping. When the model responds, I'm just sending it back to him. But because I've trained it to read the second part of the text, which is the direction to him, then it starts a loop and it starts talking to itself. Well, that's not the video, but no, I am familiar with Llama. I'm familiar with Hugging Face and all that kind of stuff and building your own models. I don't have the hardware right here to do that, but there's a new one that just came out, Falcon 40B, which is a huge model. It's still out of people like ours hands. The cards just to run it are $20,000, $30,000, $40,000.
we're not there yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
But in 2 years we'll
Maybe. Yeah.
So as you guys kind of alluded to, there's a lot of amazing possibility where we can apply AI to our business, but then also a lot of bad guys are potentially using AI to make their business more profitable and be that much more smarter and attacking us. So considering you guys are a compliance and security oriented company, can you guys just talk a little bit about what are some of the cautions with using a tool like Chat GPT? And as you mentioned, there's a whole bunch of different models out there, so this is just one of them. It's the one that's got the most press, but there's a lot of other tools available. And I think before you answer, one commentary I would just make to the group is that I think a lot of times there are new companies and new sites that make tools available for the average user who isn't particularly tech savvy. And I think us as consumers, we don't often read the privacy policy or the terms of service, right, all the fine print to understand how those companies are using our data, where it goes, how long it's saved and stored, and how they might be sharing it. And I think as a business owner to limit your own liability or as you make decisions about what you want to use, I think understanding that part is really important. So I'd love if you could just talk a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a huge concern. Where am I putting my data? How's it being secured? And this is one of the things I know that you focus on a lot too, is working supply chains. How secure is your data wherever it is you're putting it? So it really comes down to, just like working with any other company, is this a legitimate company? And even if they're legitimate, are they putting the protections in place to correctly manage my data? What is it that I'm providing to them? A lot of the things that we have in our email, everything else, it filters out different ways as well. So that's not critical data. If that got out, it wouldn't be too big of an issue. Would I put my entire medical history in some of these right now? I'll let the hospital AIs do that because they're already doing it. But it just really comes down to having a good actual compliance program to understand what type of data do we have in our organization, where is it going, and how is that going to be managed. So it's not really different with the AI. It really comes down to the supplier and where the data is being stored. As far as the security concerns, it's super scary because it can chew through passwords in seconds. It would be able to do research on somebody and create a very, very good social prompt and a very good email to try and get some data out of people. That Nigerian prince really needs to transfer that money. And it would be able to really craft a much better email than can be done right now. So that's something that we're actually focusing on a lot to see how do we protect people.
How does it chew through passwords? Because I was under the impression that when you put a password in, it might be a second or two before you check that password before you can put another one in. Or can you just hammer millions of them through right away?
It is, so there's a lot of things. Some sites don't have that So it can just cycle through. It's typically from when there's like a hack against, say, like Adobe or somewhere else. They get that huge repository of passwords, and they go through and they crack those, and then use those on other sites, because most people use the same password. So a lot of the really big hacks weren't anything more than just somebody using a password from another site, and one site got compromised, and then they got in.
So you say you're gonna put this up so that we can access it and take some of your work and like play with it. Is it meant to be sort of an experimental demonstration of what you're doing, or what's your goal here with doing that?
Yeah, so our goal is ultimately to, automate some of the business owners' tasks, right? Checking email is one of them. Like I said before, responding to our IT tickets. The demo was, actually, Chat GPT helped me create that in like 5 days. So it's just a demo of some of the technologies that we've thought of, or some of the tasks that we could automate. But the end goal really for us is to have a platform where you can log in and buy different modules, right? You want an email module, you want a customer service module, do you want to automate this? And then, so that's kind of our goal. It's really new right now. We're trying to figure out a business model, but there's a lot of benefit. Anytime I talk about it, people are interested, so,
Yeah, and I just want
No real
to
goal,
sort of
but-
chime in here. The idea of these guys presenting today is obviously they are going to have a product that we could all use. But the whole purpose of this discussion was to have a discussion, to get our minds open to the possibility. Now, you could very quickly go to, it's not ready, I'm worried about privacy, and all of the things. I think I saw a few people turn to each other and go, it's scary. Those are all real emotions. But if we get hung up on those emotions and hang out on the sidelines and don't do the things that it can do today that aren't high risk, that can improve productivity, that can help us do things faster, we're left behind. We truly are. So this video is actually intended to help illustrate that. So let's watch that for a second.
And come to this guy if you want to,
Don't
use
leave,
that,
guys.
use the
Don't
tool.
leave yet. Hold on. Yeah.
Millions of Americans own a personal computer. If you're one of them, you can now glimpse the future with nothing more than a modem, a phone line, and a few dollars a month. With the A and then the ring around it?
S?
See, that's what I said. K said she thought it was about.
Yeah.
Well, I've never heard it said. I always said the remark, but never heard it said. And then it sounded stupid when I said it. Violence at NBC.
Just what is this main artery of the information superhighway?
Every business, no matter how large, no matter how small, will be on the internet in the year 2000. It's the primary way that people will look up information. It will replace the yellow pages as we know it today.
Are a lot of people just getting onto the internet because they feel that they have to get onto the playing field, so to speak?
But it's very hip to be on the internet right now. At NBC, GE.com. I mean,
Well, Allison should know.
what is internet anyway?
Intranet is that massive computer network, the one that's becoming really big now.
What do you mean? How does what do you write to it like mail?
No, a lot of people use it to communicate. I guess they can communicate with NBC writers and producers. Allison, can you explain what internet is?
No, she can't say anything in 10 seconds or less.
Oh. I'm afraid that if I subscribed to something like internet, you would really be hooked. I would get hooked, and I would never, spend time with my family. Do you know the bother all of these I mean, everybody's everybody's, signing on and having these conversations and whining together or griping together or whatever, with people that, I mean, I don't know, if I...
It is group therapy of the 90s.
Well, as I mentioned, I have no desire to be a part of the internet because I feel like I'm so inundated with information all the time that I don't want more. Don't you ever feel like it's just constant bombardment.
I guess the thing I resent most is I would resent, at least when you're home, if the phone rings, you have the option of not answering. On the internet, people can send you messages all the time, maybe you don't even want to hear from them.
So why did I just show that? What was the purpose?
Not even that, they're just refusing to adopt it.
Refusing to adopt? What do you recognize on that TV?
Ignorance.
Okay, what else? Fear. What about the fact that was the exact conversation that was happening in this room right now about AI and Chat GPT and all of the other stuff that's going on? What you just saw on there 28 years ago. That's all it was, right? They didn't know what the internet was, right?
And they didn't want
it. Katie Couric said, I don't want to subscribe to internet. To internet, as if it was right? Or the Facebook. So the discussion we're having in the room right now, it's real. My wife told me a long time ago, I can't tell people how to feel. I try, but I can't, right? So as we stand here today, you have your genuine emotions about what AI means to you, but you also have a responsibility to your business and the people that operate in your business and the people that want to grow with you and the objectives that you have for your business. And all of this stuff is important. So these guys were here to illustrate sort of the possibilities. And we're really early, right? But one of my, Matt was saying to me, Arif, can we really do this? What do we really know, as it relates to, an afternoon education session on AI? And I said, we don't know shit, right? When it's all said and done, it's the truth. There's not a goddamn thing I know about this, other than I've been playing with it for a while if you haven't. What I do know is if I have a company 2 or 3 years from now that does not have a good understanding of how to make these tools work in a business, I don't have a company, right? Because I won't be relevant anymore. So I can't stand and wait for some of these things to be fixed. We've got to get ready to think about how we can bring this stuff alive inside our own businesses and whatever that is. So Molly's ideation over there and Greg's questions about, is this something real now? And that means hopefully in Greg's head there is some idea, right, about what he thinks he could do.